board meeting tonight. So it is 6:30 on the dot. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the record. Vice President McNeil.
Present.
Secretary Walker.
Present.
Treasurer McIntyre. Assistant Secretary Del Maroney.
Present.
Alan Gilbert.
Present.
Carol McIntosh, who will not be here this evening, and myself, present. So we have 6 present and 1 absent. Board members, it is now time to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I will lead us, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I call upon Vice President McNeil to read the district mission statement and the first statement in the standards of practice.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It is the mission of the Flint School District to develop a community of learners who are prepared to live, work, and contribute in an ever-changing society. I will begin to read our standard of practice. In order to provide an outstanding leadership and better serve the Flint Community School, we, the member of the Flint Board of Education, commit to the following standards of practice. We will be consistent in our dealing with each other, as well as students, staff, and community.
Okay, I'll take number 2. We will model trustworthiness and honesty in our relationship with each other, with our superintendent, and with our constituents.
We will focus on a common goal of providing the best education possible for the students in the Flint Community Schools.
Pastor Gilbert.
Number 4.
Number 4, Pastor Gilbert.
We will respect the diverse views that each of us brings to the organization, as well as the view of others that we interact with as we carry out the business of the Board of Education.
We will be open and authentic with each other, our staff, and community.
As we work to make decisions, we will focus on issues, not personalities.
Our decision would be student-centered and based on objective facts.
We will practice good listening skills to better understand our fellow Board of Education members and constituents.
I would like to entertain a motion and a second to approve minutes from the following meetings. November 17th, 2021, Board Committee of the Whole meeting. November 17th, 2021, regular board meeting. December 6th, 2021, Finance and Operations Subcommittee meeting. December 8th, 2021, regular board meeting. Yes.
So there's a couple of mistakes.
Yep, need a motion and a second, please.
So move.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes. Are there any corrections?
So is Wednesday, November 16th or the 17th? Wait,
What are you talking about there?
on the first,
Point of
sorry, I'm checking the
information.
calendar. I didn't get a.
Yes, Mr. Demarone.
The 17th, I also noticed, I believe what we pointed out here, but the 17th is a Wednesday,
Mhm.
It's-
and in the packet, it references the 16th.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else?
There's another one, so that needs to be throughout the package?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we just have to note that once and then it'll be corrected throughout the package?
The only one is, just to clarify, it's only for the board committee of the whole, correct?
No, there's a bunch.
Because I saw on the page 7, or excuse me, page 8 of your packet,
Uh-huh.
the regular meeting is November 17th.
No, on the 6, or page 6, 5, There are other dates in there where it says November 17th.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So there's like
Yep.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more times where it's the wrong date.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So noted, thank you.
Is that it? Is there any more corrections, guys?
Yeah, I had one.
Mr. Walker.
Under the official minutes for the regular board meeting of the Wednesday, November 17th, under remarks from individual board members, Ms. Betsy Schramm name is spelled wrong. It should be Straham. So just wanted to make sure that we made that correction for the record.
What page is that on?
That it's actually, so my page number is cut off.
Mine is.
Yeah.
But it's under remarks from individual board members. It's like the last page before we go into our action items.
Okay.
Remarks from individual board members. Just want to make sure we spell Ms. Schramm's name correctly.
Thank you for that.
I-
Any more corrections?
Yes,
Mr. Del Maroni?
yes, on, under approval of minutes, it reads December 8th, 2021, regular board meeting. And I believe that should read, well, in the packet, then it says December 15th. And my page numbers are also cut off. So as I look at my calendar, I'm thinking it should be December 15th as it is in the packet versus December 8th
Okay.
under approval of minutes.
Mhm.
And I believe we might also find other dates in there, as Carol had mentioned in her
Okay.
part.
Okay.
And on, well, again, I don't know the page number because they're cut off. But this would be under the, as it's reading in the packet, December 15th, 2021, regular board meeting. Not on that page, not on the back page, not on the following page, but on that back page in the third to the last paragraph, Treasurer McIntyre had questions, and if you go to the last full sentence, it says, does not have a problem with the partners if they are not going to act in good faith. I believe it should read, if they are going to act in good faith.
Duly noted.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chris.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Any more corrections?
Just, I want to mention that the meeting that we had last week,
Mhm.
I believe there should be some things moving from that meeting to us today, but we don't have the minutes from that meeting to approve. So it might be problematic.
What are you thinking that should have been on this agenda from last week? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I believe we're to have some discussion. Carol brought up 1 or 2 items. And Doctor, I believe you may have brought up 1.
Do you know what what the items were?
Carol, I think you had,
Carol's not here.
or I'm sorry, not Carol.
Laura?
I'm sorry, Laura.
That's okay.
It seems like you had brought up something about recognizing,
Oh,
Indigenous people.
Yeah, having
Yes.
a land acknowledgement, yeah. And
Yeah.
I apologize, I didn't have time to follow up with that.
Okay.
I said I would email
mhm.
with a,
Yeah, that's what she said.
with the, oh my gosh.
Someone from the university.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like a draft
Yeah.
of something for us to kind of look at and see what it is. And I just did not have the time
I
this
understand.
this
okay.
week at all.
Yeah, I
So-
have no problem with it, but I know it was something,
So before I think the idea was before we bring it back to the
That's what I
to the
thought.
board as a whole, you guys would see what it would, and we would have input on it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so Yeah.
That's
And
okay. That's
yeah.
okay. We just want to make
I
sure.
didn't forget. I just was like, oh,
That's okay.
okay.
So
Okay.
Thank
what
you,
else was
Chris.
it?
Yeah, and I know there was one other item and I can't recall it.
Does anybody, you
Yeah.
said, was it Dr. Joyce you said who had something?
I thought there was something.
Dr. Joyce, do you
back
recall? Anything? that-
Only thing that I could think of, we had question about selecting that person for, we had, we was selecting each other for office.
Oh,
And that last one, there was a question
mm-hmm.
about Ms. Dunphy.
Yep.
And so that could be the question, huh?
Yep, I
Madam
think that's what it
Chair,
was.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Pastor.
point of order. I got 65-year-old ears. I don't even know what you said, Dr. Joyce.
Okay.
Sound like you were
Well, like I
speaking in
just said,
tongues.
I
don't-
said that,
What
what did you say, Mr.?
He couldn't hear you. He
I
said he
just
couldn't hear
couldn't
you.
hear.
Oh, okay.
Just put your mic up a little bit. I think it might help a little bit.
As I said, I think it was regarding
Yeah.
the election of Ms. Dunphy.
Yep.
And that was, that we was gonna get some information from Mo, whether, what we
Okay.
should do, because we have not done that before.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about, trustee Chris.
It could be. I guess I'll just wait till we get a copy of those minutes. We can expect those, what, at our next cow meeting?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. The other thing, we missed this. I was asked, who is our alternate to the Genesee County Association of School Board Members? And we did not elect an alternate at our
That's
last
correct.
meeting. It just was not separated out.
Mhm.
It was kind of combined with the appointment of the liaison, which ended up being myself.
Mhm.
So we need to act upon an alternate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
By default, it's usually me as the president.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how since I've been
So
on. the
last year I was the representative and Joyce was the alternate.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
and
so
we
we
can
did
have it like
yeah.
that, so what does the bylaw say? Is that how?
It doesn't.
It doesn't,
So you can choose, but typically in the past, it's been president, vice president.
okay. If you guys want to pick somebody, that's fine, but I don't have a problem being an alternate. We'll bring it to the next meeting so we can decide. Is that fair?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I was asked
Yeah.
from
Absolutely.
GISD.
Okay.
I go, I don't know. I saw it here,
Okay,
so.
And Madam President,
yes, ma'am.
also on the December 15th
Mhm.
minutes, it says that I'm absent and while I was late,
Okay,
but there might be some confusion because I am on record as having voted.
Oh,
So I
gotcha.
cannot remember what time I arrived, but usually there's a note, that, board member arrived at such and such a time, but you'll see that I voted on
right.
these things. So just, I don't know how we clarify that.
So she'll be back this year. Just okay. Yep, she got you. Any
Thank
more
you.
corrections, guys? Okay, so we'll bring the minutes back to adopt them once the corrections are made. Okay, I think that's what we should do because quite a few corrections.
Sure.
Okay. At this time, the board will hear comments from the public pertaining to items listed on tonight's meeting agenda. Comments about items not appearing on the agenda can be addressed at the end of the meeting. Okay, these will all go to the end because they're not addressing agenda items. Okay, guys, I got two forms up here and we'll do it at the end. Okay, but Dan Mack, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Dan Mack from Johnson Controls, if you'd like to come up and speak. At the end. Oh, you do? Oh, I don't have a form, Mr. Woodson. Well, can you do that for me? Oh, yeah, okay. Most.
Mr. Mack, did you want to come up
Okay.
here?
Mr. Mack, come on, we'll get Mr. Woodson after you.
All right. Mind if I take this off while I speak? Thank you. So President Green, members of the board, Superintendent Jones, and of course, Monica. I want to first off say that I appreciate the work that you're doing for the students of this district. It's not easy to sit in those seats and make the tough decisions. What I want to do is provide an award for some decisions that you previously made that are helping the learning environment of the students. So about 2.5 years ago, you engaged Johnson Controls in what we term as a performance contract. So that was development and design and financing of the energy efficiency project that we've talked to you in the past about. And so the significance of how you did that, sorry, I'm not used to this, is why you're getting this award. So you were able to make significant upgrades to your facilities, even though your financial situation had not changed. So you use performance contracting, which is really getting an accountability partner to develop a project, identify energy and operational savings, and guarantee those savings to make the payments for the project. So essentially it's self-funded. The Energy Services Coalition chapter of Michigan learned of what you had done, and they give an award every year to a sustainability project that public sector has done, whether it's local government or K-12. And this year they've decided to give it to Flint Community Schools for the work that you had done to upgrade your facilities. I mean, let's face it, over the last couple of decades that I've been doing this, K-12 districts have had significant funding issues and personnel issues. And with buildings that are 70 years old, it's difficult to maintain a quality learning environment when you're subject to aging infrastructure and dwindling finances. And so you're getting this award. I'll read the award to you, and I'd like to get a picture. That's one of the stipulations that they had to providing the award. But if you think about the air conditioning, you're providing air conditioning. So next summer will be the first summer in 70 years that many of these buildings have had air conditioning. And I'm talking about window shakers and, you know, air conditioning here or there, but actual air conditioning that's a part of the building. And so you're being recognized for making those decisions. So I'm going to read real quick here the vision statement for the Energy Services Coalition, and it kind of puts it into context what you've done. So through the collaborative efforts and diverse knowledge of its public and private members, the Energy Services Coalition aims to make guaranteed energy savings performance contracting one of the primary means of increasing energy efficiency, modernizing infrastructure, enhancing resilience, and improving environmental quality. And that's what you've done for the buildings of this district. So right here it says Energy Services Coalition, Michigan chapter. This certificate is awarded to Flint Community Schools in recognition of their commitment to energy savings performance contracting in the state of Michigan. And it's signed by the Energy Services Coalition president, as well as the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes, and Energy. So EAGLE, as a lot of people know. So you're being recognized by the state of Michigan for your work in sustainability. So I just want to say congratulations and present probably, Madam President, the award. And if we could get a picture. Thank you very much.
just want to say thank you. We appreciate this. Didn't anticipate anything like this, but we as a board, I hate Carol's not here because this actually happened under her presidency. But I want to say thank you to everybody who played a part in us receiving an award for doing the work that we enjoy doing. Thank you, guys. Okay, oh yeah, I forgot about Mr. Woodson. Mr. Woodson, would you like to speak?
Good evening, board. I'd like to speak about the Insight Education Group. The superintendent, I saw how, he was grilled last week about this item right here. We're going right back, well, not we, you all are going right back to, this thing came a long way. And I keep saying that it's best to talk. If you have any questions, negative or whatever, call a person, talk to them. But to sit here and talk about transparency, he gave it to you a week prior so that you can check it out before you vote on it. The question here is, how many of you called the superintendent and asked him any questions about this agenda item right here? See, what I see is people wanting to shine and wanting people to see them in the open instead of calling behind the scenes to find out what's going on. The problem is people have hidden agendas, monetary, fame, because when we was fighting GISD, we had some activists that went to Lisa Hagel and told Lisa Hagel that they would take some money to fight against us. What I'm trying not to do as an activist is try to or fight with you all on the board. And I continuously say, let's talk about it. Same individuals called me prior to speak to me about issues now are too big to talk to me since they feel like they are in power. But one thing for sure, I will still give you the business from this side of the podium. Even President Green. I don't talk to her about this, and half of y'all know it, because I say, hey, call her, and we'll call her together and talk to her, because I don't even know, because I don't talk to her, because this is her thing, not mine. So I'm asking that you all don't, last meeting was a farce, man. Quit doing that to people, man. And the superintendent shouldn't be nervous to make decisions. Let him do his job.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. New business. I will now call upon Mrs. Rubin to represent Human Resource Committee of, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rubin's not here, I'm sorry. Mr. Jones. Oh, I thought you were saying at the end. Is it- When I do it? Oh, I skipped, it was there.
Yeah.
I just skipped, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, superintendent's communique. Now we receive superintendent's communique, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry.
No problem. Good evening, board. Good evening, community. Good evening, Flint Community Schools. First and foremost, I would like to share my gratitude with our entire school community for their flexibility, patience, and grace during the shift to distance learning. As you know, the safety and well-being of our scholars, families, teachers, and staff remains our highest priority. By shifting to distance learning, we are mitigating the spread of COVID-19 while continuing to provide a continuity of learning to our scholars and focusing on their academic, social, and emotional growth. As you can imagine, the decision to move to distance learning does not come lightly. As we understand the burden that this has caused many families or can cause many families. We greatly apologize for the inconvenience and truly believe that in-person learning is the best for our scholars. That said, we continue to work closely with local health officials to determine when it is safe to return to in-person learning and will keep our community updated. As a reminder for families, we have resources available to help navigate distance learning. Please visit our website, flintschools.org, for video tutorials and the meal distribution schedule, or reach out to your child's principal for additional assistance. We are here to help, and we want our scholars to succeed with distance learning as much as they do in person. Of course, in-person learning remains our focus, and we understand its importance and effectiveness. To that end, we look forward to seeing our scholars and teachers back in the classroom, and we will continue to work closely with local health experts to ensure that that happens at the right time. This month, we want to extend our gratitude to the Flint Community School Board of Education. That was my Detroit Pistons sound. That was my. As part of the School Board Recognition Month, every January, more than 540 school districts in Michigan honor more than 4,000 elected school board members for their dedication to school governance. And there's a little note there for you on your table and a scarf so that you can cover up during this time as a token of appreciation to all of you. Thank you, board members, for your service.
Thank you, Mr.
As you know, community education is the heart of Flint Community Schools. For the past several years, the Flint Community Education Initiative has implemented a community-wide strategy to establish our schools as neighborhood hubs through on-site services, learning opportunities, and programs. We set out to support scholar success, partner with families, and cultivate vibrant neighborhoods. I encourage you to visit the district's Facebook page at facebook.com/Flint Community Schools to watch a live stream featuring Carrie Downs, director of the Flint Community Education Initiative, and Jordan Munnerlin, Freeman Elementary Community School Director, where we discussed the most recent report and its findings. The live streams are a part of an ongoing effort to engage with our community and share the positive things happening in Flint Community Schools. As we look to the future of Flint Community Schools, we continue to partner with the scholars, families, teachers, staff, and community members that we proudly serve at our future focused community forums. We have received an incredible response from our school community, and we are grateful for each and every person that came out and made their voices heard. In the coming months, we will also schedule time to connect with our scholars and our staff. Additionally, key audiences to hear their input firsthand. We hear the community's desire for new and renovated facilities, revamped programs, and additional resources to help our scholars thrive. We will work with our advisory team, who will be led by our board to develop and plan that which Flint Community Schools will move to the future to accomplish. Every day, our scholars, families, teachers, and staff are making powerful and positive impact, both inside and outside the classroom. As the district superintendent, I want to elevate and share these stories with our greater school community, whether that is in my monthly communique, on the district's website, through a social media live stream, or sent directly to families' inboxes via our newsletter. As we continue to share these stories, I encourage our entire school community to follow the district on social media and sign up for our e-newsletter and distribution. It is important if we say that Flint Community Schools is going to be the school for the future, we as the school district must enhance how we let our community know about what we do. I'm asking every teacher, I'm soliciting every parent, every principal. We want to see your name on the follow list of our social media pages. And please share those items you see that we post. Lastly, earlier this week, the district recognized the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We are thrilled that our scholars are learning about Dr. King, and we want to continue these teachings throughout the year. We are taking a 365-day approach with these important lessons, and we look forward to sharing more with you in the coming days. Throughout the district, we recognize teachers and staff have experienced added stress due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At Freeman Elementary, the team is creating a wellness room to help teachers and staff practice mindfulness in a calming and positive space. Thank you to the team of Miss Anna Johnson, Freeman Elementary, for recognizing the need for this space and taking this initiative to create it within your building. Leaders across all of our schools are working diligently to best support our teachers, staff, and create the best work environment possible. As always, I appreciate our entire school community for your continued dedication to learning, whether it's distance or in person. My goal has always been our success, and we will remain Flint focused and look forward to working alongside each and every one of you. And thank you, board, for all of your support.
Do any board members have any questions for Mr. Jones? Thank you, Mr. Jones. Appreciate you. I will now call upon Ms., oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Demaroni?
I have a point of information. We spoke on the approval of minutes. I don't know that we voted on it.
They're coming back. We didn't vote on it.
Okay.
They're going to come back corrected.
Yeah, it's a lot of corrections, so
Oh,
they're going to come back.
okay. I mean, is it not possible to approve them with corrections?
It is possible, but I think we should just wait until the corrections comes because
Okay.
there's so many of them.
Okay.
I think that's
all right.
just the best thing to do.
I guess I missed that. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
no problem.
Go ahead.
I will now call upon Mr. Jones to present Human Resources Committee action items to the board.
I seek a motion and a second to approve action item number 1.1, personnel recommendations.
So move.
Support.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Demaroni?
Thank you. So, being the chair of Human Resources at the time, we did not have a meeting. We had changed the date of the meeting because of the holiday to a date prior to the district being out for the 2 weeks. And we weren't allowed to have that meeting, just the room wasn't made available. We were told it's Christmas and a whole host of other things. So I'm going to have a hard time approving these just because it didn't come before the committee.
And I understand that from the last meeting that was brought up. For me, I'm not going to have a hard time approving these teachers who have already started and we need desperately. So I respect that you will, but is there any more discussion? Lord McIntyre?
So I appreciate both of your points of view.
Mhm.
So I do agree that it's a timely thing that we do need to move forward and the teachers are already working. However, we do need to make sure that we are following. Just to reiterate, I know I said this in the last meeting,
Mhm.
but I don't want to overlook what Trustee Del Maroni is saying as well. We cannot keep doing things half and half.
Thank you.
And to please, make sure that we do the the bylaws, the subcommittees. And so I'm going to be voting for it
Okay.
with that reservation, just to make it perfectly clear on the
I
record.
appreciate that. Any more discussion? Mr. Demaroni?
Yes, I just want to say also, when we allow someone to function in our building, no matter in what capacity, and there is no contract, my concern is about liability and who that liability falls on. The board, because we approve something, the administration, the district. And I say if something happens, whatever that might be, a theft, an inappropriate behavior, action, whatever could happen. And I find it incredible that people, companies will work without a contract. I guarantee you, if we start tearing down buildings or building new ones, there will be a contract before any work starts. And I recognize the fact that we need teachers. In fact, they should be paid more. You know, I'm not going to try and, how can you possibly stop someone's resignation? I don't know that we can. But, I'll just leave it at that. Well, maybe, let me go this far.
Okay.
Maybe we can make a referral to our legal representative to give us an opinion as to having people work for the district without a contract.
I'm not sure who you're assuming that doesn't have a contract, because these teachers are third party. They do have contracts with EduStaff. So I'm not sure who you're
Okay, that's a
assuming.
third part. Okay, that's right. Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Joyce?
Oh, no, I was just going to iterate what you
Okay.
said, that EduStaff is our third party, and they just moving EduStaff over, these employees, to make them permanent, but they're still with EduStaff. So they've been with us. We need teachers. So this is a good thing, because now we have what we call building guest teacher, and they're committed to stay with those kids a year, but they come through EduStaff. So they have a contract.
Yeah.
And they are already cleared and fingerprinted and all of that. I do want to add to one question I would like to ask. Mr. Jones, when we are picking our guest teachers to be long-term, are we ensuring that they at least have a bachelor degree, or is that something remember when the governor came out, she was an associate, and I hear something about a high school education. But are we trying to get the most qualified to be these long-term?
So
What do you think? Your thoughts?
So they have to have a certain level of credits.
Yes,
and,
62, yeah.
And with that, principals do have a say in who's in their building because they've been watching them work.
Yes, okay.
I will add this as a caveat. It is a shortage. So sometimes there is a desperation to have someone that can build culture and help scholars. They may have some deficit areas, but we are working with them. So I just want to be clear on that there are some deficit areas in some places, but we pick the best we have and those that are available to do the long-term work. And just to speak to the question that was here last week on this, the previous board members, and I don't know, Daniel, if you can speak to this, but the board had allowed for HR to just bring teachers on because it was so hard to get teachers going, and you need teachers right away. So the previous board knew about teachers being brought on before it came to the board. Now, if this board would like to do something different, we're open to hear, but I just want to know want you to know where that came from, as I did some research last week.
Okay. I do, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm glad that you pulled that out for the public, because there have been conversation on that. And a lot of time, and Irina brought up the bachelor because they'd asked that, but a lot of time it's not necessary. They got this 62. And I've been in the school for a very long time, and you right on point, because some These teachers have a very good relationship
Mhm.
with the student, do a very good job. And I want to share this to the public, is that a lot of time your guest teacher worked very closely, which I did, with my certified teachers and with my principal. So I wasn't out there on my own. They worked with me with my lesson plan. So I just want the parents to know that Flint School did a very good job in that area, where even I was in a special need room by myself, but they made sure that I had the necessary resource and I had teachers on all sides of the building working with me. So I want the public to feel safe and secure that while we look for certified teachers, uh, HR staff does pretty good, and our Flint school teacher uh, did pretty good with me for sure, and guiding me and helping me get my kids to where I needed to get. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Demarone?
Wasn't there something just recently passed in Lansing, I'll call it legislation,
Mhm.
which allows individuals who work for the district with a high school diploma to become, let me say, substitute teachers?
To fill in classrooms.
Yes.
Mhm.
And are we working towards that?
We're still utilizing all of those resources as it pertains to students that want to go back to school. They have that as well at the parapros that want to become teachers. We're utilizing all those resources.
Thank you.
Yes.
No more discussion? Seeing no more, those in favor of action item 1.1 say aye, and those opposed say nay.
Point of order,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, was it Pastor Gilbert in a couple meetings ago requested that all of the items that we vote on be done by roll call?
Yep, I was getting ready to do that. I was just going to call the names.
Oh, okay, I thought you said aye or nay,
I
like
read
say,
what it said, but I was
I'm
like,
so
no,
sorry.
that's okay. That's
I
okay.
thought you were doing a
Uh-uh.
general thing.
That's all right. Girl, we gonna do this together. Okay, so the myself, Danielle Green is a A. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Lori McIntyre,
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert. Chris Delarone.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. I'm sorry, 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Jones. I will now call upon Superintendent Jones to present government items to the board.
Okay. I seek a motion and a second to approve action item 5.1, authorization to partner with Inside Education Group.
So move. Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Oh, Ms. McIntyre.
So I'd like to make a motion
Mhm.
that we modify this authorization to partner with Inside Education in that I'm sorry, I don't have the page numbers. It's page 22. I'm trying to find it in, is it even in the packet?
Mhm.
So it was in the packet
It's
from
in your
last, it's
previous
not, it's in the previous packet.
Yeah.
So
That's okay.
Do you have a copy of it?
I have a copy of my previous packet,
I don't
but it's
either.
not in the packet for
Right.
this week. So the authorization to partner with Insight Education Group, then I was going to make a modification,
Mhm.
but I do have a question
Okay.
about the proposal, which is in the previous packet.
Okay.
What role does this proposal have in our approving or denying to partner with Insight Education? Because as I remember from last week, the proposal is presented to Thomas Parker and the Mott Foundation and not directly to the the Flint schools. And I understand it was because we were requesting or seeking funding from the Mott Foundation, but the concerns are that this is our report, this is our data, it's going to be our analysis.
Right.
So the proposal doesn't include, I mean, it includes the school peripherally, but it's to the Mott Foundation. So my concerns are that if we are going to partner with Inside Education, that the report comes directly to us, and that the funding to do this is without strings attached, that we are allowed to have untainted data and data analysis from our partner, the Mott Foundation.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think we talked about it last week.
Yes.
And I think we all agree on that. You know, we
Yeah, we did.
appreciate the gesture.
I've
but-
already made the phone call
Yep.
to get the proposal to state that they will be sending this information to Mr. Jones. They will be recreating that information for Flint schools.
So I'd like to, I mean, my other concern was that per our conversation, Superintendent Jones, I did have a very nice conversation where he kind of explained a few things to me. The idea is that this partnership, as it's written, is a work in progress, that it's a working document, because I did express concerns in the meeting and the conversation with Superintendent Jones that your analysis is only as good as the data that you've collected. And Vice President McNeil rightfully pointed out that our data collection was incomplete, that we hadn't looked at the Hispanic community, the deaf community. There was a couple of meetings that were canceled. Trustee Del Moroni also expressed concern about the sampling methodology, which I agree was flawed. So like I said, your analysis is only good as your data collection. So the idea would be that this isn't as much of an analysis as it is a collation of the information that we received in these very limited community forums thus far. So with that understanding, because I have gotten several communications from community members that we know that the Mott Foundation uses and abuses data. And we don't want to be in that situation. We don't want to be, data is important, but it's not driving the decisions that we're making, and that we'd still have our strategic plan to focus on, to continue to develop with that as an understanding, if that makes sense. Does everyone understand what I'm saying?
I think on information that I do understand what you're saying, and Mr. Jones had stated in the previous meeting, my concerns about the Hispanic community and the hard of hearing community. And as Insight began to gather this data, from my understanding, when we continue to do our community forum, you can always add to data. And it would be, in my opinion, as a data analyst, is that as I'm getting the data can always be updated, because you're just going to probably get a first draft. What does the data look like now? And in my opinion, we kind of need to know a little bit where we at with this data, so we can kind of begin to guide this district in the direction it goes. So the data that Insight probably would be getting us would be like to kind of give us a head start, where we at, how this data is coming in. Then as we go into these different communities, from my understanding, that we'll be adding to this data. So in my opinion, that if you're going to give me a job to do some type of data analysis, I would like to start to get my data quick as possible, so I can design the analysis like I want it. So I believe that your point is right on point, but we do have to kind of move forward. And we did say that we will continue to add to the data. Mr. Jones, you can correct me if I'm off key.
Nope, no ma'am, you're right.
Let me just say, because I think I talked to Mr. Demaroni, he was talking about the meetings that were canceled. Have we got any updates on where we're going to have those meetings?
So because our community forums were face-to-face,
Mm-hmm.
we had to cancel one of our forums, and that was Pierce.
Right.
And as I stated last week, we want to wait until we are back face-to-face. I don't think it makes sense for us to have a face-to-face community forum asking our scholars and parents to come out, and we are not in school.
Mhm.
So we wanted to hold off on that. We could think about doing it as Zoom, as a Zoom, if you would like to just move that. However, we wanted to make sure we did all of our community forums the same way.
Point information as well.
Um,
You asked me to
Trustee
look
Neal.
into the Hispanic coordinators, someone that can work with us in the Hispanic community. I did that. They would like us to use the Latina Center. And we do have a contact person, but they had the same concern, we could do a Zoom and in person. And I can give you that person name when that began to happen.
And I think because of the uniqueness of that one, I would love to do that face-to-face.
And
Uh,
as well as the hard of hearing, we'll have a person to translate. We can kill two birds with one stone and invite that community on the same day. And the hard of hearing person, she can translate ASL. She does the ASL as well and get that done. So I did do a little leg work on that first so we can just keep it moving.
Thank you so much, Mr. Walker.
Yeah, I'll just say that, I was one of the individuals who definitely had, a few questions when we saw this in our packet last week. I got a chance to sit down with Mr. Jones yesterday and just understand the full breadth of scope that he's looking for with the Insight Group as we're talking about building upon the work that we've started, not completed, with the Community Relations Forum. I think it's great what Ms. McNeil has brought up in terms of the other parts of the population that we definitely need to reach. But it's my understanding that the work of Insight will not only be ongoing, but would help address some capacity challenges that we're dealing with as an administration. And I say all of that to say, again, Mr. Jones and the board, you'll have my full support in terms of moving this proposal forward, because as I mentioned before, we definitely want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence, but we have to balance that with the time sensitive nature of making decisions to go after these funds. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you
Great
so
job.
much,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Walker. Is there any more
Madam
discussion?
Chair,
Yes, Pastor Gilbert.
to Superintendent Jones,
Mhm.
these meetings and the way that you gather the data, is it going the way that you would hope it would go for the place that you envision for the district and for the students and where we need to be? Because my concern is that, I'll just say it for the record, I have full confidence in your ability to do that.
Mhm.
And I think it's very important that Brother Walker kind of touched on something, we got to have that balance.
Yeah.
So as much as you can inform us and those conversations that you're having with the superintendent, that is the way to do it.
Mhm.
So that it's no rock in the middle of the wheel. We want the wheel to keep moving because pretty soon the weather's going to break. We're going to be got some of this stuff done in our schools and things. And so I keep saying this, I will keep saying it to all of us as board members. There is an urgency.
Mhm.
And we've got to be able, this is part of what it means to be a leader. You cannot just, if you're going to critique and analyze everything, then you need to put the time in
Mhm.
and do that, and then get the questions that you need taken care of, or the answers that you have to have, and of course, make it public to all of us as well.
Right.
So that is my admonishment to the board. I have a lot of questions and things in my mind, but they're not really insightful. They don't really get to the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter is that what is going to stabilize the district,
Yeah.
what is going to stabilize our school community, and then that will help our city. It will help the education process.
Mhm.
And no matter what we say about certain sponsors or whoever or how may feel,
Mhm.
that is secondary, in my view, to the job at hand. And that's what I want you to know as far as Brother Gilbert, is that whatever we need to do, because in the end, we make the
time frame. And we don't want to keep analyzing data and run out of time. The concern is in spending this $55,000 now. Will there have to be another analysis of some data from the meeting of our community partners? So these different groups that we've brought in as partners to have some input, will that data now need to be analyzed at another expense at a longer time frame? Yeah. So that, I guess that's my question to the superintendent, through you, Madam President. Should we expect more expenses?
So to answer your first question, I can't make dates if I don't have approvals of things that I need to get done. So I can't give you any more dates until I have reports in front of me to be able to determine how I can move forward with an advisory committee. And moving forward with those forums, I wanted to make sure I had enough data to get us going. And it also reaches into, and we can talk about this a little later, like strategic planning. And I know a lot of things is around that. Ms. McIntyre stated that last week, which she's completely right. We need to get to the place where we're moving on certain things in the district, but I have to know where my board is before I can put myself in a situation to where I put dates out to the community and I can't meet those dates because we are discussing and we may decide to wait or we may decide to do something different. So I didn't want to kind of move forward and put dates out. I've been saying that to the public, that dates are coming. I've been saying that to our stakeholders, but I didn't want to move until I knew how the board was going to allow the move to happen. And so that's number one. Number two is we have insight with this round until through March. I plan on having our community forums done by that time. That is the goal. The goal is to try to use this opportunity for them to synthesize the data, and I give them more data in the month of February and try to get all of that done by the date that they end. So that's the whole purpose. I hope I don't have to come back and ask for another approval for this. Hopefully we can be done, but if I have to, I will. And that will only be based on the need. But hopefully we can get what we need to get done and have that data.
Mr. Demerara.
Will data have to be analyzed by some firm, whether it be Insight or not, in regards to the data collected from the meetings, the future meetings with our community partners?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. Because those meetings we're going to have, of course, a recording secretary there to support that, but that's different than the community forums. It was a lot different than the community forums. The community forums, we were gathering a lot of information of what our community wanted to see. It's a lot of sticky notes. It's a lot of information. I think that what's happening with our, and we can have discussion about this more, but our advisory committee is trying to take that report and take how to move forward to make recommendations to the board of what the community has come together to decide, to assist Flint in doing. So I don't see that as more of a collecting a lot of sticky notes and data more than I see us putting that report in front of the advisory committee that you will see first, and then discussing how we can move forward with the collective impact agreement to build schools, to renovate schools, and move the district forward.
All right, thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Laura McIntyre.
I'd like to wrap up by making the friendly amendment that we approve the authorization to partner with Inside Education Group, but that the report comes directly to the Flint schools, to Superintendent Jones and to the board, and that it's our data, it's our analysis, and we cut out the middleman.
Support.
Is that the support, a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, man, okay.
Mhm.
We'll get the data.
Yeah. And partners will get it at the same time, basically, like we said before.
No.
I know that I'm gonna get the report. As soon as the report goes out, she's going to send the report to me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have that conversation with her in the morning. I can come back to you and let you know what's stated, but I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
And then when you get the report, you can forward it on to the partners. It's not,
Right,
that's because it's our.
right, I heard you say no, though. What are you knowing?
Well, I
That's
can't,
what- that's what I
let
said.
me be clear. If someone's paying for something, I can't tell them they can't have it.
Nobody's saying they can't have it, but what's fair for partners, I think, is
We're
that they
talking
get
about
it
a
at the
chain of
same time.
command, though. Yeah, just because you pay for it doesn't give you certain rights and access and
It-
influence.
And if that's going to be a problem, I think the board needs to be aware so we can make another decision if necessary.
Yeah, if that's going to be the
I wanna
case,
be
then I'm not
clear on
voting.
what I'm being, I want to be clear on what I'm being asked. Please
Okay.
explain what you're saying.
Go ahead,
Are you
Laura.
saying that you don't want Insight to give the community partner the report?
Correct.
Right. They have to get it
Correct.
from you.
You can give it to them.
Yeah.
The board can give it to them. But this is a contract with us.
Mhm.
It says with the Flint community, proposal for Flint Community Schools. Now, if a partner wants to help us out and partner with us and provide the funding, that's fine. But it does not go through, does not go to, this is ours. So, yeah, you can forward it on later on, but this is presented to Thomas Parker, Executive in Residence and Program Officer, Charles Stewart Mott Foundation. It does not say Flint Community Schools here. So that I have a problem. I'm not approving that. I'm approving us having a partner, authorization to partner with Inside Education. Now, if it can be facilitated and aided with our partner, that's fine. But like I said, the chain of command is you and then our partners.
Equally, partners equally, yeah. I agree. Mr. Delmeron?
So if I can try and rephrase it.
Mhm.
If someone wishes to give the district some money, donate some money, we'll accept the money. It becomes our money to spend with the stipulation from the donor in this fashion. And that report becomes our report as as board member Laura has mentioned. And it becomes our report and it's subject to being FOIA'd as opposed to an outside entity paying for a report, it becoming their report. It's not subject to being FOIA'd.
Mhm.
They drive how the report, the format of the report. So if this is a donation
Mhm.
from a partner for us with a stipulation that the money be spent to do this analysis, I have no problem with that. I have a problem if they're simply going through the district to have this report for them, not being subject to FOIA. So it becomes the district's money
Mhm.
to spend subject to any stipulation.
Okay,
It's
I
going
don't
to be
know.
done that way.
so Mr. Jones,
It's going to be done exactly how Ms. Laura asked.
Okay.
We can accomplish that, is what I'm saying.
okay, Board McIntyre?
Hmm?
You okay with that? Or did you want, is that enough information? Do you have any more discussion that you want to have?
No,
Okay.
just to, so
I got
the proposal is to
Yep, I get you.
Yeah,
partner with
it
Inside
comes to me,
Education.
I give it to partners.
That's right.
Yes,
Gotcha,
ma'am.
for sure. Is there any more discussion?
And how is that reflected now? Because what this says is not
Mhm.
what we're wanting.
Right.
That's right.
So we need a new proposal.
So you're approving based on the amended
Yeah.
proposal.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yes.
With
Just
the
want to be
understanding that there will be a forthcoming amended
That will be emailed.
proposal that then you will bring back to us and that we can see and,
Absolutely.
that's open. Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Point of information,
Pastor
Madam
Gilbert.
Chair and
Pastor
Superintendent
Gilbert.
Jones. As I said earlier, you never hit the target if you're throwing darts in the dark. You have to bring it to the light. We need specific language to the motion or to the, whatever you want to add or whatever you need. We have to have Sister Laura to speak exactly what she's bringing before the board. We can discuss it further, or we can vote for it, or we can vote it down. But we need to hear from her specific determination, what she's bringing forth by way of a motion. So you're clear, the entire board is clear, and so when voting needs to stick with what language is. And I don't think Sister Laura is ambiguous, but I think maybe a few of us on the board might be a little bit. So we need to hone it in and get the specific language so it can either be supported, voted up, or voted down. That's the way we're going to have to do this, because that's the one voice of the board. See, the board is not just the superintendent or Gilbert or Dale Maroney. It's all of us. We're one voice. So we have to get the specifics correct and
So I
make
did-
sure that we understand what Sister Laura is talking about.
So I did make a motion with your permission, Monica. Could you read it back in terms of what's recorded?
64. 12.4, EDEP monthly submission report, December 31st, 2021, page 65. Do any board members have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it's this information is going to be brought forward in the next finance subcommittee meeting for discussion. Is that correct?
Is Ms. Dunbar?
No,
So
it's saying
these reports are not done for a finance subcommittee meeting. So the next finance subcommittee meeting is the first week of February,
Mhm.
and the reports aren't complete to bring them to a finance subcommittee meeting. So you will get the check registers as we run the check registers. They come every 2 weeks when we cut checks every 2 weeks. But the balance sheet, the budget versus actuals, and the EDEP monthly submission report are not complete before a finance subcommittee meeting. We are still processing items for the prior month. We're still booking entries. And so therefore, it's not done in time for a finance subcommittee meeting.
But these are done. So I'm
So you
saying
want these reports to come
that is
back?
correct. Yes.
We can
These
bring
aren't
them.
coming back. There wasn't a finance subcommittee meeting.
So what I'm trying to say to you is that even going forward, for next month, when we do the month of January, the month of January reports that you see here for information are not done in time for a finance subcommittee meeting.
I understand that. So anything that has not been in a subcommittee meeting, that it is done, we're going to bring forward to the subcommittee meeting, is
So-
what I'm saying.
So what I want to make sure I'm clear on, please don't be frustrated. I just want to make sure I'm clear. So when we have our finance subcommittee in February, I will bring these December reports. So when we have our finance subcommittee meeting in March, I will bring the January reports.
Correct.
I'm trying to understand the cadence.
Yes.
So are you also saying that when we have our board meeting in February, which would have the January informational items, that they are not to be presented as information because they haven't come to a subcommittee yet?
These, according to our bylaws, these things need to go through the finance subcommittee meeting. So if we have not had a subcommittee meeting, yes, they cannot come before the board.
So
According to our
informational,
bylaws.
I understand that action items have to come before a subcommittee meeting, but informational items don't have to come before a subcommittee.
Well, there might be action on these informational items.
What action would there be? I'm just curious as to what you're saying, because you
Well, for
don't vote
example, we
up or
still need,
down.
we have yet to have a robust
Laura, let me read something to you, okay? Rules of order. These are in the bylaw, because I'm big on the bylaws. Basic operating principles, and the first one says, board members shall act with common courtesy, decorum, respect towards public employees, students, and other board members. I'm not feeling, when you talk to Ms. Dunpray, I don't feel that, I don't see that. I'm, So I'm asking you to follow the bylaws in reference to
am
talking.
following.
No,
Yes,
you're not,
now,
you're not. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna need you to talk to her the way you talk to Dr. Sullivan, people from Plant Moran, and people who look like you. I'm sick of it.
Oh my God.
I'm tired of it.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, Pastor Gilbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, let's start at the heart of it, is that board trustee and treasurer is under the bylaws of the board. She has the right to ask.
Nobody said she didn't.
Don't, point of order, let's just.
I hear you,
the
but I'm
same-
saying nobody
the
said she
same-
didn't.
The same rules that you're reading, that we ought to treat the public, the administration, and everyone else, we have to treat one another the very same way, because the husband that laboreth must be first partaker of the fruit. So let's clear that up. The main thing is that Ms. Domprey had begun to answer her question. And that is,
I didn't understand what you said. I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
Ms. Domprey had begun to ask her question.
Mhm.
And because the information that she was receiving from Ms. Domprey
Mhm.
was not what perhaps she wanted to see going in the future.
Mhm.
That's okay. I think that's a good thing. But you don't have to cut the speaker off until they're finished. I think that's where you were going. And because that's the
I think I
problem.
said it clearly, exactly what I wanted. I
Yeah.
read the bylaws.
Yeah, is that you treat that decorum and that discussion with the professionalism that you're supposed to as a
Absolutely.
board member stated here. So Ms. Domprey did answer that. And she even answered the question I was going to ask about information versus action items and what that has been in the past versus can it be changed? Do they have the staff to do it?
That's what me and Mo were just
Are they-
discussing.
Pardon?
Me and Mo were just discussing, changing the
Right.
dates.
I
so we
mean,
can come
and I
forth. Yes.
think that's what it is. And Ms. Domprey may say the same thing to me. Well, no, Trustee Gilbert, we can't do that. Number one, because of certain things, the computer or the information coming in or who's got to put it in, our staff, we only have so much to work. We've got to learn to respect and trust those that we work with to a degree so the job can get done. And the only thing that I'm saying that where I would get off the boat with Sister Laura is let those that you're talking to finish their thoughts. Let them express themselves. And when you retort your question, let it be about the answer you just received.
That's right.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Pastor Gilbert. And just so everybody knows where I'm at, I just really would like to see people talk to with respect. That's it. And I know certain people get it and certain people don't. And I have anxiety when Ms. Domprey get up there because I feel like she's going to be attacked and I don't like it. Period. And I know, whoever's attacking may not feel like they're doing that, but everybody else see it. Everybody sees it. I know I do. I know you look a little confused and I don't understand why, but everybody sees it. I don't know how Ms. Domprey does it. I wouldn't do it. Enough is enough. You ask her questions, you may not like her answers and you attack her for it. Let's not do that. And you still look confused. I'm not
I
sure why.
really- Well, you're saying that I need to speak to her like I speak to everybody else, and I do.
No, you don't.
Oh, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you do not. And there's no
And
way
to-
I'm
and for you
changing.
to-
I'm sticking
for
to
you
that because
to
that's
insinuate
facts.
that it's
People who are friendly with Laura or close to Laura, I'm sure you guys haven't shared that with her.
A point of information, and Laura, Trustee Laura, I love you. Ms. Dunpray, I love you as well. However, sometimes we want people to give us the answer that we already have in our head.
Absolutely.
And because you already know the answer.
Or you think you know the
I
answer.
think you know the answer. Ms. Dunpray is giving us the information that she does have. I would like to see us start off on a new track. Yes, we didn't have meetings. That's over with. We didn't do what we should have done. Our bylaws are murky, and the people, we're working on that this year as well, straighten up our bylaws. But I think that, in my opinion, Ms. Dunpray answered her question with the information that she has and the knowledge that she has. And we can't just badger a person. I would just say, we have Ms. Sakowski here, supposed to be helping us with the finance and making decisions. So maybe we have to use that person. Remember, we have this situation that there's got to be communication. Ms. Dunpray deserved to be respected in this public. This is a public meeting, and she's given her.
Public and private. Let me just add that.
Yeah.
Public and
Yeah,
private, because we
public
done
and
had it
private,
both ways. And
Yeah, and we done went through this. We had a legal opinion about this, and here we're going back and forth again. Ms. Dunpray is the CFO. Let's respect the decision she makes. If it's something that this is me, that you disagree with, she has a boss, her superintendent, Mr. Jones. Then you can contact Mr. Jones and say, Mr. Jones, I disagree with this here. And then we'll take it from there. But we got to start off somewhere on the right foot. If I give you an answer, you might not like my answer because you already got the answer in your head. I have people accusing me all the time, but they don't know me, so they accuse me. So we can't be doing that in public. So I just think that if we hadn't did this intervention here, would have kept going on, and then we'd have been badgering her and putting her in the hot seat. And I just think that if she cannot answer the question, we shouldn't hold things up. If we have to, go to Mr. Jones and have that conversation with Mr. Jones or Ms. Sokowski, who we appointed as our financial advisor, and the middleman between Laura McIntyre and Ms. Dunphy. And I think we have that in writing somewhere.
Okay, all right, I agree. Is there any more conversation, Mr. Demaroni?
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was hearing was that some information was presented to us.
Yes.
We were trying to find out, when I say we, the board or a representative on the board, was trying to find out why it did not come before the subcommittee first. And I heard that this information does not have to. It's
For
just,
action, I think she said for action. Was that right, Ms. Dunphy?
I said this is informational and
Mhm.
action items have to come before the subcommittee,
That's what she
not
said.
informational items.
Yeah, that's what she
Right.
said.
so I'm not, I don't know, I guess I'm just not sure what we're trying to do here. You know, I guess I'm thankful for the information. And it just seems like there was a question of whether it should have come before the subcommittee first or not. That's what I was hearing.
And I think that's what Ms. Dunphy was telling us, what comes before the subcommittee. Am I clear, Mr. McIntosh?
Yeah, so
McIntyre.
how that became controversy and did I hear
Well,
White
point of
black?
information for me. I think that's what happened when we get into the confrontation. We lose focus and we lose exactly what it is that we were supposed to be doing. And because it got into my back and forth, so now we kind of confused exactly where we at. That's why we have to be precise in what we're doing. And Ms. Dunphy had explained it. Then we had this back and forth. Now you're confused where we at. I am a little confused where we at.
The confusion is where now? What's the confusion?
No, he was just saying, trying
sorry,
to
I was talking
understand the
about-
difference between information and action.
Okay.
And Ms. Dunphy was saying what's what.
I
So
heard that.
then when you arguing back and forth like they were doing, we lose concentration, you know, and that's what done happened. We done lost our thoughts, and I don't even know where to begin at. from
Okay,
this
well, let me
point.
start right here.
Thank you.
Ms. Dunphy stated, information items do not have to come before the board, right? Just the action items. And me and Mo, I apologize for the side conversation. Me and Mo were discussing, we might have to change the date for the finance subcommittee meetings because those action items can go to the subcommittee
Yeah.
first. Does that make sense? Is everybody okay with, does that make sense? I mean, that's just, that wasn't a difficult fix, but my point was, I just want, especially people who work in the district, get up at the mic and be comfortable.
Yes.
That's, I couldn't do it. I just want everybody to be comfortable and feel like they're appreciated and respected.
Yeah, and
That's
that's one
it.
information. I just
sorry.
wanted to understand, you know, this is information that
Yeah,
she's given us.
that's it.
That's all I was trying
That's
to
all.
clear. This is information that she's allowing us to see.
Is that correct, Ms. Dunphy?
That is correct, because these transactions already happen through the month. When you get the check registers, you see the transactions
Right.
for what we've spent. When you get the month, the budget versus actuals, it shows you the revenue that we have for the month. It is already what has transacted. There's nothing you can't stop it, you can't change it, there's nothing to do with it. We come before you with action items that we need approval for so that we could spend the money that are shown in your check registers. When we get the budgets approved, we get approval for the entire budget. So it's not like it's something that you haven't, there's nothing to make any motions on. You can't make any motions or do any actions with it. It's
Right.
already what has happened. And I'm just providing you the information.
Thank you, Ms. Dunphy. Mr.
You're
Walker?
Yep, I was going to agree with you, Madam Chair. This board meeting and a lot of board meetings prior to this, a lot of our conversation has, I feel like, come down to governance and cadence in terms of what happened when, as it relates to our subcommittee meetings and how the information flows to our cows, and then now this regular board meeting. So I say all that to say, I think we have a unique opportunity as we're resetting our committees to look at the governance structure, to have a conversation with administration, with the chairs to say, hey, this is how things flow. I know right now we have certain dates within the month, but if those need to be adjusted, I think we have an opportunity to do that. So again, it sounds like a lot of this conversation is coming down to governance and just cadence. So I got to believe that we can definitely get on the right track. But again, I support what you said.
Thank you, sir.
Madam
Pastor
Chair,
Gilbert- Pastor Gilbert.
thank you. I also wanted to say that as our president and the chairperson of this board,
Mhm.
what we have to recognize is that you have the authority under the bylaws to do just what you did.
Thank you, sir.
That is to chair the meeting.
Mhm.
And that is very, very important. And so I think it's important that in that process of chairing, the equilibrium of the chair can get really murky and delicate. So we all have to work, and if the chair, if she taps on that thing, we have to stop talking. That's what Dr. McNeil was talking about. You mentioned the cadence and things like that. And the only thing that I can say is, we got to be careful that we don't try to go down a road where we become dysfunctional and we're an embarrassment. I think this district and this board has had enough of that. It
Enough.
seems like to me to last a lifetime.
Mhm.
I just have to say it.
I agree.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had to pull my mask down like this. And I think I can speak for all of us. One thing that really has always bothered me all of my life is when I allow somebody else to make me look stupid. I don't like that. And none of us up here are stupid people.
No.
We're some of the smartest people I've come across in the city of Flint. But sometimes we get bogged down, and because we don't like what we hear, the response that we hear, and that takes us off in a place like Dr. McNeil said. It's not really personal. It's just those that come before us, they have a vested interest in the success of the district just like we do. The only difference is they just don't have a vote. So we've got to kind of change so we can move forward. We took a lot of time to talk about this and discuss this, and I think we needed to do that because we have a new leader. We got new officers that were voted in. Every one of you all have my confidence and my love and my prayers. But if I think that you're going down that rabbit hole, I'm not going to get you in the crosshairs. I'm going to try to get you off the schedule and get off that path so you won't get shot out. That's what I'm trying to do. So thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Gilbert. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none. Thank you so much, Ms. Dunphy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunphy.
Okay, so Mr. Jones would like to say something. Mr. Jones?
Yes, so I just want to, we were talking about moving things forward, and I've talked to some of you about the strategic plan. I actually did a presentation just a little bit last week, and I also emailed all of you, and I know most of you have, all of you have the strategic plan that we have worked on from December 2020 to May 2020. What's going to come, this is going to come before you in February, and I want to explain what I want to do here. Many of our stakeholders, teachers, principals, even parents and some scholars, community members, and many of you participated in the December 2020 to May 2020 strategic planning. We know we are getting with MASB to support the board and give you some knowledge behind how to create. However, what I am going to bring as an action item, there's many things that we have pulled staff for those 6 months to get done that is really good work. If we start over with our strategic plan, I believe that it's going to again, halt a lot of our decision-making. I think there is many things in our strategic plan that's going to come forward anyway. And what I'm going to ask is that our board, as I make some modifications, put my name and your name and change the executive summary letter to fit what I believe the vision moving forward, along with talking with board president about this. If I can get support to approve our strategic plan with a caveat to amend as we move forward with embedding more community involvement as far as the forums and taking that information and embedding. And as you learn, board members, how to build strategic planning, if there's things that you see in the strategic plan you would like to add, or you would like for us to make some adjustments to, I would like to not halt any longer the support that we can give teachers and principals and the work that our stakeholders have already done. I would like to not just put away all the time that they spent working on that. I would like to kind of move forward with what we have because it's good work, but I would also like to leave the window open to make amendments as you see fit, board members, as you learn with MASB on what you would like to do as we move forward. So I just wanted to put that out there. I sent the strategic plan to you all. I'm making some amendments to it, and really I'm changing, it from being my predecessor into myself and also the board members that we have today. So there's going to be some changes made, but that's going to come to you in February. I wanted to tell you now so that you have an opportunity to go back and look at that strategic plan. And then again, it's not going to be a closed door. It's going to be with an opportunity to amend as we move forward. But there's some really good information, culture and climate, MTSS work, teaching and learning work that is really ready to go. And I don't want to hold our buildings any longer for being able to do that work. So I just wanted to put that out there as information.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Before I adjourn, I would like to, I know we have some public that wants to speak again. Carrie Downs.
Good evening, board. My name is Carrie Downs. I'm honored to serve as the director of the Flint Community Education Initiative, led by the Crim Fitness Foundation. Our main office is located at 452 South Saginaw, and I'm happy to share a community education update with you this evening. Success Mentoring is a program led by community education to match a caring adult with a scholar who demonstrates chronic absenteeism, meaning that they are missing more than 2 days a month. While just 2 days a month may seem insignificant, we know that 2 days a month can add up to a month over an entire year, causing significant gaps in student learning. So far this year, Flint Community Education Initiative has provided 26,535 success mentoring minutes through 1,147 sessions for 128 scholars. Mentoring at its core guarantees young people that there is someone who cares about them, assures them that they are not alone in dealing with day-to-day challenges, and makes them feel like they matter. Research confirms that quality mentoring relationships have powerful positive effects on young people in a variety of personal, academic, and later in professional situations. Ultimately, mentoring connects a young person to personal growth and development and eventually social and economic opportunities. Yet 1 in 3 young people will grow up without this critical asset. On behalf of community education, I'd like to recognize our AmeriCorps service members, our FCS staff members, and internal partners who are committed to supporting our scholars by serving as mentors within our Success Mentoring program. I'm pleased to share that Success Mentoring will continue during distance learning thanks to FCS administration. Additionally, Our CRIM sports team has put together a great virtual programming opportunity to promote physical activity and sports skills during the pandemic while our scholars are distance learning, as we know the importance of having our youth physically active. The CRIM Fit playbook is broken down into 5 different sections: warm-ups, activities and skills and drills, cool down, mindfulness in sports, and nutrition in sports. These online playbooks are available at no cost to parents and scholars to use for sports and physical activity, with a description of the activity as well as a link to online video demonstrations. These activities that are available online make use of the 2,000 sports kits that were previously distributed to our scholars for their home use. You can find the great resources, the videos and activities at flintcommunityed.org. Also, we'd like to invite our local community members and organizations who are interested in serving our Flint scholars and families through our collaborative with Flint Community Schools and invite them to partner with us. Anyone who is interested in partnering with Flint CI in serving our FCS scholars, please visit flintcommunityed.org or call 810-201-5620, and we'll be able to meet with you to make sure that we can connect. We do have some upcoming events for adults. We're offering Hustle Aerobics with Classy Move Productions on Monday evenings at Eisenhower, Tuesday evenings at Brownell, and Wednesday evenings at Southwestern. When they are able, they'll hold the program in person, but all of the classes can be accessed via their live stream on Facebook. Additionally, CRIM Sports is offering ice skating clinic at Crystal Fieldhouse on Tuesday, January 25th from 5 to 6 p.m. at no cost to our scholars and families. This is a great way for students to experience ice skating in a socially distanced manner, so students are safe, but they're still getting physical activity. In February, watch for registration for our no-cost gymnastics and tumbling clinics as well.
Mrs. Downs,
Yes, ma'am.
your 3 minutes have been up for quite a while.
Thank you so much, Ms.
I
Green. I appreciate
you
it.
speaking, and you're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Sergeant John Smith Jr.
How you guys doing this evening? So I'm Sergeant Smith. I'm with the City of Flint Fire Department, and not going to be before you long. I've already had a conversation with the superintendent. I've sent him a formal letter. I'll leave my card if you have any, you want to talk to me about anything or any additional information. So as you know, there have been a lot of vacant structure fires over the past few years. It has at least been 30 commercial structure fires, which pose a great risk not only to the community, but those who serve the community as well. The fire department has sat down with different members of the board and representative of the Flint Community Schools, and nothing's been done. So the fire department has decided to charge the Flint Community School system every time we get caught out for a commercial structure fire. I sat down with the superintendent last Thursday to discuss some type of plan on better securing these buildings. It's been times where we've called your maintenance person out and they say the building's secure. I personally have rolled by and opened up the doors. So if I can open up the doors, the kids aren't in school, they can go in the same building. Like I said, it just poses too much of a risk. In the formal letter, it lists codes, fire code violations that the Flint Community School System are currently not in compliance with. That is my time. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'll leave my card. You can call me or you can talk to Lieutenant Cochran. Thank you.
Sir, could you step back up to the mic? There's a couple of board members who have questions, I guess. Pastor Gilbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to our wonderful firefighter. We certainly thank you so much for your service, all that you do. We certainly pray for your safety and heartfelt job and responsibility that you have in this city. But what I'm really concerned about is that two things is that the code violations that the city of Flint has projected upon the Flint Community Schools as to it pertains to violations. And I know under the authority and under the law, you have that right to enforce those codes on any structure. But also, the fines that you would, or the code that you would write against buildings that have been set fire by arsons and different other type of things that happen that break the law with Flint Community School property that we're responsible for. So what I'm saying is that it should be a way that we can resolve this and make it right. And that's what I'm looking for. I mean, from my position as a board member, I'm a trustee, I'm a fiduciary of the board. I'm looking out for the district. And also I live inside the city, I pay taxes. I have for 48 years. And so I'm just saying to you, sir, as a representative of the city of Flint, and also myself being a member and a chairperson of the Ethics and Accountability Board, there ought to be a way, and we've got to work within that confine, both that is advantageous for the Flint Community School District and for the city of Flint, that we do what is proper and legal, not to break the law. We should not set out to find and to seek out a way to punish someone because they are in violation if there have been a time. So I just want to, it may not be the proper time.
No, well, like I said.
But no, for my board members, I want them to, and the public, but I want it to be part of the record. So I know you may have your processes and you have to follow that, but I just wanted you to hear that from just a board member on the board.
So like I say, I grew up in the city. I own a house in the city and I work in the city. I went to Flint Community Schools. I want to see Flint Community School system succeed. This is something that we've talked about countless times. And I did sit down with the superintendent to discuss some type of plan. But until a plan is in place, this is the next possible thing that the fire department has decided to do. We don't, we want to work towards not finding you, but.
One last question. Yeah. One last question.
Pastor Gilbert, comments are okay, but not directly to the speaker, and you definitely, the questions is not supposed to happen. But go, we started it, so I'm gonna let you
I
finish.
shared it down there.
You
Because
sure?
I can see him after the meeting.
Okay, let's do that. And we need cards, sir, okay?
I've emailed the copies to the superintendent assistant, and I gave him a physical copy as well.
Okay, okay.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to make a public comment? Come on, Mr. Woodson. I told you.
Man, this is, I hate to see that he got up here and did that because for one, y'all have immunity. That's number one. Number two, I don't see the city fining the land bank. I definitely don't see that. They have a whole lot of buildings out there. Matter of fact, they own 67% in real estate in the city of Flint. Do you find them? No. Matter of fact, there's a lot of banks that own a whole lot of dilapidated houses out there. That's still standing. Do you find them? Matter of fact, what we need to see is how many times have you fined the land bank? See, what I see here is Mayor Neely again. Mayor Neely touches something here. Instead of going to the superintendent, the president, talking to them in private, just stand here at the podium and try to make them look bad. That's highly upsetting
The way I'd receive
because it's politics, it's political season. See, this is the type of stuff that touches me. As much as I fight with the land bank, and not one time have they fined the land bank because I stood over at city council and asked them, why haven't they fined the land bank? Oh, they put in legislation that they have immunity. Matter of fact, when they sent a letter to the board, to Miss Anita Stewart, I asked the lawyer, can they do that? Because what's the school? Washington Elementary in Cape Fields. Ward, Fourth Ward. They sent a letter because it was political season.
Yeah.
And they said, the school system has immunity just like the land bank. So they should have talked to Ms. Willard, the attorney Willard for the city before they came over here. Y'all have immunity. Talk to y'all lawyers.
Right.
Listen, Mr. Del Moroni, you just exhibited what I was saying earlier by you should speak to the superintendent or someone before you make a statement in public, because what they do, they're going to take what you say and run with it. When you said that people was working in schools without contracts and all this and that, before you put that out there and before you start making those statements, you should call the superintendent or someone like Joyce McNeil, Laura Walker, somebody, and speak to them first before you make that statement, because you have media, you have activists like myself, somebody that will take what you say and run with it. But don't give in and don't pay a fine until you find out about the immunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Woodson. Do any board members have any comments? Mr. Walker.
I have a quick one, and this goes back to the award received tonight. I definitely wanted to commend, the administration and all of our staff that goes into that award, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention, I would hope we would have an opportunity to bring the same guy back and get a status update on the material pieces that we were supposed to have in December, right? Because I know it's freezing outside, but you all know we just came off a cusp of canceling school for a couple of weeks due to heat. We were told that come December, parts should be in, the white air conditioning thing should be up and running. So we just need a status update to see where that is, just to make sure that, again, we're properly planning for what comes ahead. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Again, to thank every board member and the administration for our meeting tonight. Thank you.
I really thought that's what he was here for. I appreciate the award, absolutely. But I thought that's what this was about. So we look forward to seeing you real soon. Absolutely. Any other board members? Dr. Joyce McNeil?
I kind of want to give a little point of information and then probably ask a question at the same time. Ms. Laura McIntyre, we talked about the strategic plan and the selling of the building. So, Mr. Jones, is this going to be two different type of strategic plan? One about selling the properties, the buildings. Yeah, they did their presentation, and we was talking about we need a strategic plan, even when we were talking about selling this property that we have.
So I think that information, once we get to the place where the board is determining buildings, and I think once we get to know what that is, we add that to the future of Flint in our strategic plan. If it's going to be a 5-year, because it's a 5-year plan. So we will add it into the strategic plan for under infrastructure.
Okay. We left off so much at the end of the year. We spoke about the Plant Moran, different building that we had, closing up these buildings. Even before we even start talking about selling property, we need to know where we are and how we're going to get to where we're trying to go. And we know that we are incurring a big expense. We got some buildings that were less than 100 kids at. And I don't want that to get behind us, because they need to be right beside us in our decision-making process. So I guess we're looking for where we at now and how we're going to get there. Even when Shroom came last week, did the presentation, I was kind of thrown off because we still have to make other decisions about some buildings that we no longer can support. And so I just think that we need to kind of, I don't know, we got so much of us.
Some workshop.
Yes.
I think if we, have some workshop meetings to kind of just deal with specific subjects, we can, if we just talk about the utilization and what is the future, right? What do we want to do? I think if we can just do that and have, and Mo, I think that's in the cards, right? That's something we can do.
Yeah.
I think that will help us kind of shape, and I can bring the section from the strategic plan that it will fall under and we can begin doing work. And we can also talk to MASB, as myself and board president has been in contact with Debbie Stair. And so we can turn the page on their work so they can help support us in how to move that into our strategic plan.
And Madam President, if it pleases the board, that we bring Ms. Sokalski back to our table when we making these decisions. She was doing such a great job in keeping us clear about what's going on in our financial situation. She has that expertise. So if it pleases the board, I would like to have her in a lot of our decision-making process.
I agree. Carrie's amazing. I agree 100%. Is there any more comments from the board? Mr. Del Moroni?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor, for bringing that up. We talked about that last Thursday on the telephone. I brought the issue up that we have some working meetings, call them a workshop, whatever. But we need working meetings to where there is nothing on the agenda except what we may bring up at that meeting. We need to have schedules, we need to have timelines, we need to know dollar amounts. We cannot move forward without knowing what schools we're going to save, which ones we're going to tear down, which ones we're going to sell. You know, I get emails from the public about Central High School, and they're, you know, they say they're literally afraid to walk by Central High School because they live in the neighborhood, and I can understand that and appreciate it. But, you know, these issues come up. You know, I received an email from someone within the school district, an employee, sending me pictures of conditions within the schools. I mean, I've been trying for 15 years to simply try and get the school district to have clocks with the correct time on in the buildings. You know, for me to tell someone in the community that, yeah, we'll take care of Washington, I can't even get a pothole fixed in a parking lot. I mean, these conditions have been here long before I was appointed, long before any of you were elected. And it's just deplorable. And actually, I feel like tonight we just spun our wheels. For a minute there, I thought I was at a Flint City Council meeting.
Wow.
To be honest with you. And they know how I feel about those meetings from time to time, especially the previous council. Through you, board president, to the superintendent, what do you need from us to have that next partner meeting? You said you're waiting for us to do something. What can we do? We need to move this along. We cannot just go have one meeting every month, talk about agenda items, and then we're out of here. I mean, on our agenda, there's nothing about old business. The public actually has more time to speak than the board members. How can we help you to have the next partner meeting?
Please, Mr. Jones.
So I want to say December 16th was our first meeting. We went on break. We just came back from break. The first order of business was to get the board to allow me to get the reports and information synthesized. That's where we are. There's nothing to take to another advisory committee meeting if we don't have any data to show, because that's what we promised the public, is that we were going to take that information into an advisory committee. And if I don't take that information into the advisory committee, I'm not doing what we promised. So that's where we are. We want to have a meeting, but I needed to get permission to get this report done and get this information synthesized. I'm gonna get on the phone tomorrow. I'll be working with Insight to ensure that we make the amendment and we get started with the work and get a timeline, and I will email you all the timeline to get that work done, and then we'll be scheduling further meetings.
How many partner meetings do you expect us to have?
That depends on the work we can complete as far as a collective impact agreement, coming to an agreement. We know we have buildings on the table. We have to come into an agreement. With that, we're moving forward with some renovations, speaking about the future. So when you ask that question, I don't think we end our work. I think we're trying to ensure that we're keeping our community involved and keeping our committee moving so that we can make the proper recommendations as we move forward. There is I'm sure that we're going to get to the place where there's some due dates. We need to get this ESSER money spent. We need to also think about the due dates of getting a collective impact agreement signed so that we can move to get new buildings in. So I want to get to the meeting, but I didn't want to go to the meeting with just another open conversation. I wanted to have something tangible to sit down and talk about and put before the committee.
Okay, I would hope that at the partner meetings, that the partners will not only be reacting to what the public has said at the 9, maybe 10 meetings that we'll have, and that they'll be putting in some input above and beyond what the public is putting in. I know when it comes to the full board, at some point, no matter what everyone else says, I'm sure board members will have some input to add. So I would hope our community partners will also be doing that, because they will have a different set of eyes, a different set of knowledge, different set of experience. Not to say it's better or more experience or knowledge than the public, but we all bring different things to the table. Having said that, I will move that tonight that we set a date to have a working meeting for this board within the next 2 weeks.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Pastor Gilbert,
There is a motion on the floor.
I know that.
Okay.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I'll take a vote on having an open meeting,
Can we
right?
have a discussion?
Is there any
Yes.
discussion outside of Chris Delmarone?
Yes.
Yeah?
Chris, I kind of I share your thoughts and passion. I have been, I spoke with Mr. Jones, and I have been in contact with MASB when we went out for our yearly training. And what MASB, all your concern, what you have said, that we can kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone, as with the strategic plan, having this working meeting, as well as our concern is getting some of the murkiness out of our bylaws and become a unified board. So they have showed me and been talking with me about how we can get this done. And when you start talking about a working meeting, I think that what Madam President had requested that each one of us write down 3 of our main concerns, because we all seem to have 3 concerns. I believe Madam President contacted the board members and asked them for that. And then once we get those concerns, then we can kind of start moving towards a working meeting. So MSB, I have been speaking with them. So we do need to have that. We do need to talk about the strategic plan, but we got to get this stuff. And Mr. Jones sent out a email asking us to give him a date, a roundabout date. This is crucial, a roundabout date, so we can get back with MASB. They gave me some ideas how Neola, how we can work out these bylaws. We talk about these bylaws. Take your bylaws and go through them. And anything that you feel is murky, mark them off. That's going to save us a lot of money, because they're only going to charge us, I think, $80 per hour. I can't remember. But that's something that you're talking about. We have a misunderstanding of your bylaws. We talked about the election that's coming up. So those things that you need to start to doing, so we have something to work with and just not rambling. So we get those 3 things out, each one of us, and get them to Madam President and see what it is and which direction we're trying to go. I think that's the best way to start out. And she sent out that request. I stand to be corrected, Madam President.
No, you're fine. Only person I didn't talk to was Pastor Gilbert.
No, thank you, Madam President. I was just going to,
No, well, I'm talking about the 3 threes that I asked about. Three top concerns as board members and 3 priorities to you for the district as a board member.
Oh.
So I hadn't got an opportunity to call you, so I was just responding to Dr. Joyce
yeah.
to let her know. I did talk to everybody else.
the main thing is that we reestablish or we continue to build, and that we do it on the basis of, and I think we all understand this. I think we, and Brother Woodson was right. He was right. Is that we got to get out of what I call the mud. Because what happens when you come out of the mud is some things you have to do first,
right,
in order to move. You got to wash yourself off. You got to clean yourself up. And then you have an opportunity to move forward. And sometimes it looks prettier when you got mud on you, or it looks worse than really what it is when you got mud on you. Instead of washing it off first, self-examination, look inward so you can look outward so your vision won't be blurred. As a board, this is what we've got to do. Then the second thing is that's very critical in my mind is we got to deal with the bylaws and also the critical issues of the utilization of our buildings. What building, what do we really want? Do we want one high school? Do we want it on Saginaw Street, or do we want it on Houston Avenue? Or I mean, what we got to get down to the real nitty gritty, grind it out among us because we have the authority to do so. And then when we get there, we have to, as we go along, we have to build the confidence and trust of our superintendent, support him. And if we got a problem, we critique him and check him and say, we don't believe, we've decided, we have voted, that's not going to work. So now he has to go and put together what will work. But to continue down this road of throwing darts in the dark, I really believe that it causes the public, the stakeholders, the partners to see Assistant Treasurer Del Maroney mentioned about the city council.
Right.
And that's what I kind of saw. But he beat me to the punch. I didn't say it because I didn't think you would be able to handle it. But obviously I was mistaken. You was able to handle it because he said it and nobody fell out of their chair.
Right.
Because we have to critique ourselves, but we have to move forward. Because I'm going to tell you something else it does. It makes our superintendent look like something other than his best. We play a critical part in it. He's our only employee. And if we got a problem, it's just like when I was in General Motors. When the superintendent over skilled trades wanted me to open my box and go out there and do my job, they were paying me $40 an hour to do it. I told him I don't want to do it because I think you ought to get somebody else because I'm the high man on the totem pole. I don't have to go out there. You know what he told me? He said, General Motors pay you, not the low man or the high man. So that's the same here. Superintendent Jones has to have full support.
Has to.
And the critique and the questions are okay, but we got to be able to keep moving. And that's the problem I'm concerned about. I'm trying to give myself, I got so many questions, a lot of things I don't like. And I would like to say to Sister Laura, it's a lot of things that I agree with what you're saying. You're right on point. But what has happened is, in my view, because I'm new, is baggage that we have been dragging for 30 years on this board. It's not going to work anymore. It just ain't. We have to be more honest, respectful, and considerate of one another, but yet get down to the work of this board on the behalf of our entire community. I'm going to say this and stop preaching. We have the administration, we have their lives in our hands. We have the teachers' lives in our hands. We have our superintendent's lives in our hands. And then we have our legacy after we out there in River Rest or Flint Memorial pushing up daisies. And I just have to talk plain to you because I may not get another chance. We got to leave something, a solid foundation for our children and for our city. And Trustee Del Marone is right. When you can't get a pothole fixed on school property, that's a bad look. It seems like it's not important, but it is. And so those are the things, if we can't take care of that, how are we going to take this great big picture of 3,000 students' futures in this board's hand? We have to do that work. If the sooner we do it, if it takes 2 weeks, I'll come back next week. I'll come on Saturday. I'll come on Sunday after church. Jesus worked on the Sabbath. Don't get me started. I'm done.
Thank you, Pastor Gilbert. So I want to give other board members the opportunity to make comment if they have a comment. Oh, I forgot. Oh, shoot.
Was it a motion on the?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, thank you. So we're discussing.
About that
So
meeting.
Is there anybody else who want to speak before Mr. Del Marone gets to speak again? No, Mr. Del Marone, it's on you.
So you seconded, you made a second.
I just want to say the importance of having this working meeting is it will cut down on the amount of time we're here at a board meeting, bringing up these issues, I believe. I also believe that is where we can bring up each of our 3 important issues, discuss them, talk about them. Because otherwise, when will we decide what schools to tear down, what schools to sell? How do we determine that? When I was on the district's facility planning committee back in 2008, we looked at all that and where should schools be located? And, back at the time, we had four high schools, and I don't think anyone was running around in Grand Blanc or Flushing saying, what's wrong with our district is that we don't have 4 high schools like Flint. 4 high schools just bled so much money out of our district funds. It was unbelievable. $1 million a year to Central. I mean, and we're here today.
Okay.
Dealing with the same problems from, 14 years ago. Deciding what schools to close, which ones to keep open, which ones to rehab, which ones to sell. And I think that's the need for the working meeting. So-
Okay, I appreciate that, Mr. Del Marone. Is anybody else? Oh, because we have a motion on the floor, so I'm calling for the question myself.
Okay, thank you.
And so I'm going to call your name through a roll call vote, and yay for wanted the meeting, nay for no.
When did he want the meeting?
When?
I did not say when,
didn't
I had
say
said within 2
within
Yeah,
weeks.
he didn't say when.
And
I need
if
more
we,
than 2
if
weeks.
we
I
vote
need more
yes,
than
we
2
can
weeks. I'll
determine the
say no.
date.
Dr. Joyce
I'm
McNeil.
saying no, I need more
Okay.
time.
Mr. Walker.
It's a yes for me.
Laura.
Yes.
Pastor Gilbert.
Yes.
Yes,
Mr. Del Marone.
yes.
For me, it's a no, because we got a lot of, I don't know if we can do this in 2 weeks, like Dr. Joyce said.
We
We
can't
got a
do
lot of
this in-
different things coming up, and we may cover all this stuff that he wants, because I'm not sure what he wants. So what is it? 4 yeses, so we'll set a date, we'll look at the calendar and set a date for it.
Do we need 4 people to be at there, or if it's just 1 or 2 people, they can still have it, or how is that? We don't even understand.
It's not going to be fruitful if it's not a committee of the whole.
No.
So yes, we need a quorum, which is 4. All righty, moving along. Monica has passed out Form 1180, as well as copies of the bylaws 1180. That talks about the board's committees. Each board member is asked to complete the notice of interest and return it to Monica by Monday, January 31st, 2022. Once all the forms are returned, I will have an idea of which committees you wish to serve on for 2022. So we ask you to take action on, so we can take action on February 9th, 2022. The Board of Education's next meeting will be a Board Committee of the Whole at 6:30 PM at Accelerated Learning Academy on Wednesday, February 9th. Seeing no further action, the meeting is adjourned and it is 8:40.
Perfect time.